Okay, good morning, all of you. Are you able to hear? One of you can respond. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Okay, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Ashok, working in New Horizon College of Engineering from EC department. Okay, so I'll be the class teacher for you for this entire semester, and parallelly I'll be handling one theory subject, that is Nelson System ECE 36. So basically, this particular paper is problematic paper, but if you get the concepts, means it is very simple paper for you. Okay, and it is very interesting too. This is a foundation paper for all the communication subjects, whatever you are studying in the upcoming semester. Okay, so fundamentals and basics you should be very much aware about. Then only you will be able to proceed with the upcoming papers or the continuation papers in the next semester. Okay, because you are having some subjects or some courses which is exactly the continuation of this particular subject which is in the third semester. The name is Signals and Systems. And meanwhile, you can join my Google Classroom also, because I'll be posting the attendance link, the notes, then recording of videos, everything in the classroom. Okay, I will not send any links in the WhatsApp group. So you are supposed to check the Google Classroom always, so that you can access the attendance link, the notes, as well as the video recordings. Fine. So can we start now? So starting with first module, as you can see, the subject name is Signals and Systems. Okay, so we have two parts. In fact, one is signal and second half is systems. So basically, what is signal? Any entity or any information. Okay, any information or which has some message content in it. That is what is known as signal. But these signals, we can't transmit the signals as such. It need to process. Okay, we need to process these signals. So any entity that is used to process these signals is known as system. Correct? Signals means anything which carries some kind of information or some kind of message in it. That is what's known as signals. And we are not going to transmit these signals as such. We need to process these signals and we need to convert these signals from one format to another format. So for that, we need to have a system. So what is the role of the system? System is nothing but any entity that will process the input signal so that it will convert into a desirable output signal. Okay. Now, in this module, we will be dealing with different classifications of signals, followed by different types of elementary signals, and how we can operate with different elementary signals or different operations of elementary signals like addition, subtraction, multiplication, integration, differentiation. Okay, so any mathematical operation that you are doing, so that we can implement in signals and systems also. Like you'll be adding two numbers, so that you can add here. That is, you can perform addition with respect to two different signals. You can perform subtraction between two signals. Even you can perform integration as well as differentiation of whatever mathematical operations you are doing. The same thing you can implement by using a system. So got the concept of system? System is nothing but which will perform a task over the signal. Maybe I need to add two signals. So that can be performed by using summer. So summer is nothing but a system which will perform the addition of two different signals. And if you need to multiply two signals, means you will have a system known as multiplier which will perform the multiplication of two signals. If you want to integrate a signal, means you will have to design an integrator, which is nothing but the system that integrates a given input signal. Clear? Can anybody say what is the integral of sine? What is integral of sine? Unmute and speak.
So minus cos x.
Yeah, it is minus cos x. Okay, if the function is a variable of, I mean, it is a function of x, means the integral of sine x is negative cos x. if the signal is a function of independent variable t, t means here time, okay, then it is a signal. Okay, for example, sine t. Sine t, it is a mathematical function which is a function of a variable t. Here we will call it as a signal, sinusoidal signal. Okay, we can represent or you can consider a sine wave or a sinusoidal waveform as a signal. So when you integrate a sine wave, you will get a negative of cosine wave. So that is another signal. So that integration, it is nothing but a system which will perform integration over an input signal. That input signal is nothing but a sine wave. Okay, and if you are giving a cosine waveform as an input, again cosine wave is another signal. Again that integration will happen over this cosine waveform to create a sinusoidal waveform or sine wave, because integral of cosine wave is sine wave, integral of cos theta is sine theta, integral of cos t is sine t, integral of cos x is sine x. So all these are functions in terms of mathematics, but when it comes to this particular course, it is known as signal. Okay, so signal is nothing but its properties or its features will be always varying with respect to some independent variable. Here that independent variable is going to be time. Why time is known as independent variable? Can anybody say why time is known as independent variable? Why time is known as independent variable? Independent means it does not depend upon any factors. Can any factor affect on time? Does any factor affects our time? No, correct. So time doesn't wait for any parameter. So it is an independent variable. So any function which depends on time, that can be considered as a signal here. So as I mentioned here you have the syllabus of first module. So in the first part of this module, we will be dealing with classifications of signals. Okay. Then after that, we'll be dealing with elementary signals and functions. And then the third part, basic operations on signals. So basically you have three distinct parts in this particular module. So first we'll deal with classification of signals, then the daily practical signals, what we are using in our day-to-day life. Then third one is basic operations on signals, as I told you, multiplication, addition, subtraction, integration, time scaling, time shifting, etc. So we'll come to know about all these. So basically, this is a mathematical oriented paper. So you will have to perform some mathematics on all questions. Okay, it's problematic paper. So you need to grasp the concept very clearly. At any point of time, if you have any doubts, means please feel free to pose me and ask the doubt. Okay. Now, coming to the introduction of a signal can be defined as a function that conveys information. So any entity that conveys an information is nothing but a signal. If there is no information in that particular signal, I mean, in that particular function, means it is not a signal. So it is an entity that will represent some sort of information. If I'm telling hi to you, it has got some information. Like I'm wishing you good morning, I'm wishing you good afternoon, I'm wishing you good evening. So it has got some information in that particular voice, isn't it? So that can be treated as a signal. Even the speech or the conversation or the the signal what I'm trying to communicate to you now, the information what I'm trying to communicate with you now, that can be also treated as signal. Okay, why? Because you are getting some information from this class, means that is a signal. But there are some signals which are unwanted. That is nothing but the noise. Probably you might have gone through these noise signals in your basic electronics course. But here we are not aware about or not bothered about the unwanted signals, but we'll be dealing with the information signal. So a signal is nothing but which carries some information. Okay. Now read the second sentence. Signals are represented mathematically as function of one or more independent variable. It is always a function of at least one independent variable or more than one independent variable. Here, as you can see, basically a speech signal as an example, it will be a function of one or more independent variable. For example, it is a function of time. Then with respect to time, the quality, the features or characteristics of the speech signal might vary. Correct, no? So it is a function of time. Suppose I'm conveying some signals at this particular point of time, it will be having an amplitude, but after 2 to 3 seconds, I'll be pausing the signal. It enters to a sleep mode, then there is no signal, or the amplitude goes zero. Correct. So the features or characteristics of a signal, if it varies with respect to some independent variable of time, then it is nothing but a signal. That function is nothing but a signal. So if you write any signal x of t, what does it mean? If you write any signal like x of t, means x in bracket you are putting t, what does it mean? Anybody unmute and speak?
Sir, X is a signal which is a function of time.
Yeah. So x is nothing but the name of the signal or the label of the signal, which is a function of time, because at t equal to 0, you might have an amplitude 1. At t equal to 1 means after 1 unit of time, you will have another amplitude for the signal. Okay. So it is a function of time. So that function can be treated as a signal. Why? Because it depends on the independent variable time. So if the function is depend only on single variable, it is known as one dimensional. So probably all the speech signals that you are coming across through our day-to-day life, or you are communicating with your fellow members, all these are one dimensional speech signal, because the characteristics or the amplitude of that particular speech signal is varying with respect to the only independent variable, that is time. So it can be treated as a one dimensional signal. Clear? The amplitude varies with the time depending on the spoken word and the person who speaks it. If I'm speaking a particular sentence, means my speech signal will have one variable, one amplitude. If you are speaking the same sentence, means your speech signal may have different amplitude. So you can't say that all the words will have same amplitude irrespective of the person or the people who is speaking that particular word. So it depends on the situation, it depends on the environment as well. Okay. So the spoken word or the amplitude of the speech signal, whoever is speaking, that depends on the speaker as well as the time. For example, if I'm speaking a sentence now, my speech signal corresponding to that sentence may have an amplitude A. For example, it will be A at this particular point of time. And later tomorrow, I'm speaking the same sentence, but it's not necessary that I should retain the same amplitude tomorrow, because it is function of time. Time has changed. Now it has become amplitude A dash. So amplitude may change with respect to time, the speaker, as well as the environment. Okay. So if the characteristics is changing only with respect to one variable, one independent variable, then it is known as one dimensional signal. As you can see here, speech signal is a convenient example of one dimensional signal. Clear? Now, coming to the second point, multi-dimensional signal. Multi-dimension means here the speech signal or the signal, whatever you are plotting or whatever you are dealing with, if it depends on more than one dimension or more than one independent variable, then it is known as multi-dimensional signal. Okay. Multi-dimension means more than one dimension. Either it can be one, or it can be two, or it can be three, etc. So the most feasible or desirable example of a multi-dimensional signal is a speech signal. Image signal. Speech signal is an example of one-dimensional signal. Multi-dimensional signal is image. Can you tell why an image is a multi-dimensional signal? It depends on pixel values, right? So if you take a digital image and save it in your screen or in your desktop, and if you open it, and it will be divided into many kinds of pixels. It will be saved as many pixels in a digital format, where each and every pixel is a function of two coordinates, comma y. That is one horizontal coordinate and one vertical coordinate. So these are the two spatial variables, right? You may come across with shrinking the image, compressing the image, isn't it? In the JPG format, you could have you have the provision of compressing the image by 50%, 25%, etc. So in that, you will change the x parameter and y parameter. You will have two coordinates, right? 50% you put for x and 50% you put for y, means the entire image will be compressed with 50%. So like that, it is a function of two spatial variables. So image is nothing but it is known as multi-dimensional. You can change its brightness, you can change its color, texture, hue, whatever it may be. So any characteristics of the image, it can be a function of two variables, means two coordinates. What are the two coordinates? X coordinate and y coordinates, the spatial coordinates. So image can be also considered as a signal, which is a multi-dimensional signal or two-dimensional. Okay, so if any function that depends on two or more than two variables, then it is known as multi-dimensional. Now going to the classifications of signals. So all these fundamentals, you should be very thorough with this, because unless you have the fundamentals, you will be feeling difficulty in doing the program. Okay, so try to grasp all these fundamental concept. If any doubts, means you can pose me at that particular point of time and you can ask. Yeah. So these are the 5 basic classifications of signals. So one by one we will go into. Okay. So the first classification is continuous time and discrete time signal. The second one, you have even and odd signal. The third one, you have periodic and non-periodic signal. Fourth one is deterministic and random. Fifth one is energy and power signal. Don't bother about these names and all now, because once you get the concept only, you can remember all these 5 names. So these are the basic 5 classifications of signals, whatever we are dealing. So I'll go to the first classification. Any doubts till now? Any doubts till now? You got the objective of our subject now. They are trying to study about different types of signals and different types of system. What is system? System is nothing but which will perform a task over a signal. Why you want to perform a task over a signal? Take a general, application where you are communicating with a large gallery. Okay, you are addressing a large gallery having thousands of people in the crowd. Do you feel that your voice is so high or so strengthened to address all these 1,000 people in that particular crowd? No, right? So your speech has to be processed in a particular format so that all those 1,000 people who have assembled in that particular auditorium can hear your voice, right? So there should be some system that works in the background. Can anybody say what is that particular system known as for this particular application? Unmute and speak.
Sir, amplifier?
Yes, it is nothing but an amplifier. But in that amplifier, you have to give your input, correct? You have to take the output also. So that amplifier alone, it will not work as a system. It should need the support of some other elements as well. So these elements or these entities, when connected together only, it forms a particular system. That is, you need to have a mic. You need to have a microphone, right? So through this mic only you are speaking, and this microphone is going to convert the speech signal into electrical signal, because your system is an electrical device or electronic device which will be dealing with only the electrical signal, correct? So whatever you are talking or whatever you are speaking, that speech signal need to convert into electrical signal. For that you need to have one device, that is nothing but your mic. Now this electrical signal, it will go into another system, that is amplifier, which will amplify your voice. And what about the amplified voice? Once it is being, once that particular electrical signal is being amplified, then how that signal can come into the ear of the people who are listening your voice? Directly it will come to the speakers, I mean listeners. It can't, right? From the amplifier, it can't come directly to the listeners. You need a loudspeaker in between, correct? So all these three together will come, I mean, considered as a system. You have the mic, you have the speaker, and in between you have a amplifier system that works. Okay. So here, before going to the systems aspects, which will be only dealt in second module. So here in this module, we'll be dealing with different classifications of. So only after studying the different aspects of signals only we are bothered about system. The first classification is continuous time and discrete time system. So in that, I'll teach what is continuous time signal. A signal x of t is said to be a continuous time signal if it has value of amplitude for all time t. That is, in x-axis you have plotted t, in y-axis you have plotted x of t. Which means the signal x of t is a function of time t. In all time t, you are having a well-defined value for the signal, correct? At t equal to 0, you can see at t equal to 0, at t equal to 0, this is the time. At this particular signal, you are having this much amplitude. This is the amplitude. Now, when you go to the positive x-axis also, if you take any time t, you are having a well-defined value for the signal x of t. So it is continuously variable. Even for negative time also, you are having the same thing. Now, what is the concept of negative time? Practically, do you have any negative time? Practically, do you have any negative time like -1, -2 and all? But still in this, we are dealing with those negative times as well. So clearly you have to understand this concept. Why you are dealing with negative time? Suppose I am analyzing the working of a system. Now I will switch on that particular system. Now this point is t equal to 0. Whenever I am analyzing the signal of a particular system, starting point is t equal to 0. Now, after 1 unit of time, you will have t equal to 1. After 2 units of time, you will have t equal to 2. Now, what about t equal to -1, t equal to -2, etc.? T equal to -1 means before considering the origin of a particular signal, what was its characteristics 1 unit before? Or what was its characteristics 2 unit of time before? That is what is t equal to -2, the past values of time or the past amplitude of the signals at previous time slots, whatever we have focused. Suppose I am focusing t equal to 0. What is the immediate past time? It is t is equal to -1. Okay, so there can be amplitudes for that particular signal even at t equal to -1, t equal to -2, etc. So here, as you can see, this is a signal which is continuously varying with respect to time, or you have a well-defined value for all time t as I have showcased here. So this is the speciality of continuous time signal. Okay. Now, just read this paragraph. A real life example of, or a real time example of a continuous time signal is heartbeat or pressure variation, etc. Okay, you will have the signal amplitude at all time t. It is not going to drop at zero. It is not going to drop to zero. You will have a well-defined amplitude for all time t for a heartbeat or even the pressure variation also. Correct. So that can be considered as a continuous time signal. And
So one doubt, sir.
yeah, tell.
Sir, in the previous graph, sir, like on the left-hand side of the x-axis, if all the t values are negative, so they will be imaginary, right?
Yeah, it is imaginary, but actually, if you start one system, okay, if you switch on one particular system, the output of that particular system may depend upon the previous values as well. Okay, previously, if that particular system has memory, if that particular system has memory, it will always depend upon the previous inputs also, right? So you have to focus on inputs at negative time also. It is not imaginary actually. The concept is it may depend upon negative time. Negative time in the sense just the previous time slot. It is not negative. Actually, it is not negative. For example, if you are switching on a system at this point of time, then t equal to -1 is just the time elapsed just 1 unit of time before. Clear? It is not equal to
Okay, sir.
-1. Physically, it is not equal to -1. Okay. Physically, you can't say
Yes,
it is
sir.
t equal to -1. Just you have to imagine that t equal to -1 is nothing but the instant of time you have focused or you have assumed just before the starting point. Starting point is nothing but the origin, and t equal to -1 is just 1 unit of time before the origin. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But the thing is that these physical phenomena like heartbeat or pressure variation and all, these can't be treated as such because we are designing electrical systems. So these can't be given as input directly to these electrical systems. So we need to have some transducers to convert the physical or any natural phenomenon or any physical phenomenon into an electrical parameter. For example, if you are sensing the temperature, suppose you are entering into a room. If you have an automatic temperature controlling system in your room, that is, it will always sense that temperature, and based upon that the fan or AC, whatever present in your room, it may get on or it may get off. That is the nothing but the automatic temperature controlling system or the smart room, whatever you can call it. Okay. So here also you are sensing the temperature by using a temperature sensor, and later you are converting that temperature output into some, temperature input to some electrical output. So sensor is acting as a transducer there, which will convert the incoming signal. What is an signal there? Temperature, isn't it? The physical phenomenon is nothing but the temperature variation. So that temperature variation is going to be sensed by using the sensor, and later it is converting into a appropriate electrical signal, and which can be then handled by any electrical system, whatever we are designing. Clear? So as such, this electrical system, it cannot deal this physical phenomenon. So before giving this input to this electrical system, we need to convert that physical phenomenon into an electrical signal, and then only you can give that to a system. So these are the examples of a continuous time signals like heartbeat, pressure variations. So as far as a continuous time signal is concerned, it will have a well-defined value at all point of time. Any doubts with respect to continuous time signal? Any doubts you have with respect to x of t? Now I will go to discrete time signal. So what will be the speciality of discrete time signal? Harshit, can you guess what is discrete time signal? Unmute and speak out. What is discrete time signal? Continuous time signal I already told. It will have well-defined value at all time t. Now, can you define what is discrete time signal?
About independent values, a fixed value.
Okay. Discrete time signal is defined only at discrete instance of time. Okay. You can't say that you will have always, I mean, you have the values of, or you have the amplitude at all time t. You will have the amplitude levels only at discrete instance of time. That is, the independent variable has discrete values only which are uniformly spaced. Okay. So any signal which is having its amplitude or which is having a well-defined value only at discrete instance of time, not all instance of time, only at discrete instance of time only it has values. Okay. For all other values, for all other time t, the value of the signal will be 0. For example, at t equal to 1, you will have a value. At t equal to 2 also, you will have a value. But what about the time between t equal to 1 and t equal to 2? Since this is not a continuous time signal, you will not have any signal value between t equal to 1 and t equal to 2. Therefore, this can be considered as a discrete time signal, which will have values only at discrete instance of time. That discrete instance of time will be uniformly spaced. What do you mean by uniformly spaced? For example, if you have a sample at t equal to 4, the next sample you are having at t equal to 6, then the third sample you will be having at 8. Okay, so it is uniformly spaced, right? 4, 6, 8, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so these time intervals are, or these time instants are uniformly spaced. So that can be a discrete time signal. Why it is not continuous? Because you are not having any amplitude of a signal at t equal to 1 or at t equal to 3 or at t equal to 5. Okay, therefore it can be considered as a discrete time signal, but the representation of this discrete time signal is just different from continuous time signal. As I told you, any continuous time signal can be just represented by a function x of t. X of t means x is a label of that signal which is varying with respect to a variable t, or which is a function of independent variable t. Okay. See, within another 2 minutes, this meeting will get end, but you can log in with the same link. It's a recurrence meeting. Okay. So you can log in with the same link. I'll be here. Okay. So within 1 minute, please rejoin. After 2 minutes only, it will get end. Please wait now. After 2 minutes, this will get end, but you can rejoin with the same link later. So the representation goes like x of n. It's not x of t. So if you have any representation like x of t is shown, then in your mind automatically it will come the signal is a continuous time signal. Otherwise, if the signal is represented as x of n, small letter n, it will be a discrete time signal. Okay. So if it is x of t, it is a continuous time signal. If it is x of n, it is a discrete time signal. Now, what is this n? Read that second point. A discrete time signal are represented mathematically as sequence of numbers. Sequence of numbers x in which the nth number in the sequence, it can be considered as the amplitude of that particular signal, which is defined by set x of n. So this is denoted by x of n. Okay, so x equal to set x of n means x is nothing but the label of that particular signal, which is a function of an integer n, and the value of that n lies between minus infinity to infinity. What does it mean? N is an integer which lies between minus infinity to infinity. Okay. Now, what is this n? N is nothing but the sampling instant, or it can be considered as an integer which lies between minus infinity to infinity. So we are going to take samples of a continuous time signal, and then it is represented in the format of a discrete time signal. Okay. So you can see that from the previous figure, this signal is continuous time signal which exists continuously from minus infinity to infinity, and it has well defined values for all time t. But now we're going to represent the same signal x of t in a discrete manner as shown here.